Hey guys, it's Coach Grein. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Just wanted to do another quick video for you guys. Get ready for the first game this weekend. I thought we had an awesome practice on Sunday. Really a lot of high energy, a lot of improvement over what I had seen the previous week, and really you guys looked really good. So I know we're missing a few guys. I'm excited to get the whole squad out there on Saturday, but yeah, just wanted to dive in, cover a couple topics here. Really pretty high level offense, defense, and transition. Clears and rides. And so, talk a little bit about what our game plan is going to be for Saturday, and that way we know when we show up, we know what we're doing. We'll be able to get right into it. All right, guys. So first things first, offense, guys. We're going to talk about transition versus settled. So that means when to kind of push the ball in transition and when to slow the ball down and work it around. Okay, so draw out my field here. Basically, you think about transition in terms of like a fast break, whether it's off of a face-off or it's off of a turnover, a quick clear, something like that, where we have the opportunity to get the ball out and run. So that's when we'll kind of push on the offensive side a little bit. And settle offense obviously is what it is. It's 6-on-6, or in this case 5-on-5 offense. So let's just say we've got midi picks up the ball here off of a clear, right? So goalie makes a save, passes the ball to a midi streaks down the field. All of a sudden now we've got our two attack guys coming down here. They've got two D guys here, and then their midi is trying to play D midi, trying to play catch up here, right? So we've got this midi coming down. We're going to have two other midis trailing as well. So this is a scenario where we would want to push transition, right? So this is a fast break type scenario. Basically what we would want to do here, midi who's carrying the ball down, he wants to run, try and go to the goal until one of these D guys stops him, right? So if someone slides to stop to him, we're going to do what's called a draw and dump. So he's going to draw the man to himself, draw the D guy here, and then dump the ball to this attackman. So this attackman, as soon as he sees this D guy slide off of him, he's going to pop up, pop open, okay? So he's going to pop up, pop open. Now, if he's up here, that's not as much of a danger area, so he'd want to either, then dodge and go to goal, or look to make another pass. If he's down kind of in this area, that's a danger area. He's going to take that shot all day long. If this second D guy comes over, then this attackman is again going to kind of sneak up, cut in behind, cut to the ball, one more pass and a shot. Okay, so this could take a lot of different, could look a lot of different ways depending on how the defense reacts to the ball. Also, if we have another midi get down, so say their D midi gets back, so now it's basically a 2-on-1 with the midis plus the defense and the attack. So really, it's a 4-on-3. In this scenario, maybe this D midi even catches up to the midi carrying the ball, but then they don't have another D midi get back, and we have another guy coming up here. So that's when we would say, okay, it's same scenario, draw and dump, right? So this midi has now drawn this D midi. He's going to dump the ball over here to this midi, and then it's kind of the same thing where if he can get into a danger area, he'll take a shot. If not, he'll pass it to the attackman. If he draws this slide, same type thing. All right, so let's just say same scenario again, different look, right? Let's say we've got the midi and they've got their D midis are getting back, right? They've got fast guys, they're all getting back. We end up in basically an even scenario, right? So in this case, we're not going to push transition. If they get their D midis back before our midis get up the field, whether it's, again, they got fast guys, or if maybe we subbed in between, something like that, we're just going to say, okay, let's settle the ball down. Let's not turn the ball over, right? So the biggest thing on offense, we want to possess the ball, okay? Possession, all right? Our offensive philosophy, guys, is tire their defense out, right? So we want to make their defense work. We want to have long possessions. We want to get good quality shots, and we want to force their defense to make plays, force their goalie to make saves. So limit, turnovers, limit sloppy passes. Anytime the ball's out of bounds, we're having someone chase it to try and retain possession. And yeah, so I think, every time we have the ball again, we don't want to, I'd rather us hold the ball for 5 minutes and get a good quality shot than, push the ball and lose the ball 20 seconds later, right? Because then the ball's coming right back down to our defense and they didn't get a rest. And the other team's defense didn't have to work at all, right? So if we're bringing the ball down, we don't have a fast break. We're going to settle the ball, right? So that means these attackmen who originally probably started up here on the clear, came down into the box on like a fast break type scenario, they're going to settle in, right? So one attackman's going to go back to X. So we got an attackman back here now. The other attackman can either go to the crease or out to one of the wings, right? So let's just say he goes out here. So now we've got attackman on the wing and attackman at X. And then the middies, doesn't really matter who's carrying the ball. We're going to get it to the guy who's probably the most comfortable carrying the ball, or most comfortable dodging. He's going to be our kind of point guy to start, right? So he'll have the ball. We'll send another middie down to the crease and another middie out to the wing, right? So we'll set up in a 1-3-1. And then from there, we can really rotate. We can do whatever we want, right? This guy slides over, this guy pops up, and then this guy slides over and this guy slides down. And then it becomes a 2-1-2. Really, the concept is the spacing on the outside, right? So we want to make sure that we have at least one middie up top, if not two. We have at least one attack guy back at X, if not two, or behind GLE. The reason for that is twofold. Number one, we always want to run our offense through X. We always want to make sure the ball passes through X. We want to make the defense defend behind the goal. It's a hard spot for them to be in when they're defending. And everyone has their back turned to the goal, so it makes it really easy for our guys to cut, make a pass, and score. And probably the biggest one is having someone behind the goal to chase out shots, right? So let's say we got a really high quality shot from up here. Shot just misses the cage, or maybe the goalie tips it over or something, and it's out of bound behind. Offense should retain that ball 10 times out of 10 because we're going to have attackmen back here who are ready to chase the ball out of bounds. So it's always the guy who's closest to the ball when the ball goes out of bounds, that team retains possession, okay? We never, ever, ever want to give the ball back to a defense in that scenario, okay? So again, if we have a fast break, we'll push it. We'll do a draw and dump. If we don't have the fast break, we'll get set up. We'll start working the ball around the outside, okay? So again, let's say, all right, so we found ourselves in a 1-3-1 set, and we're working the ball around the outside, okay? So these guys on the outside, maintaining spacing, passing the ball, nice, clean, crisp passes, okay? Don't want to lose the ball out of bounds on one of these. And we're moving our feet and we're moving the ball, okay? So the ball is always going to move faster than the man, and we never want to get the ball stuck in our stick. So let's say, we're the guy on the wing. We think we might want to dodge, get inside and shoot. If you don't have that dodge, you don't have that shot within a couple seconds, you bounce it back outside, right? So let's say, okay, you take your guy on here, you don't have it, you get cut off. You know what, instead of trying to force something inside or force a shot or, lose the ball, run into a double team, just turn around, right? Retreat to the outside and make the pass, okay? So we want to make sure that we're dodging in the right scenarios, that we're being aggressive, we're giving our guys a chance to dodge to the goal, but we're also keeping possession, right? So don't force anything kind of silly, right? Okay. And guys, the biggest thing is movement off ball. Okay. So again, we got the ball moving around the outside. If the ball's up top here, we're going to have guys cutting, right? So we're going to have this guy back at X. He's going to be cutting to the crease, right? This crease guy is maybe going to pop out and switch with this attackman, right? So we've got an attackman cutting to the crease from the wing. We've got an attackman cutting to the crease from X, right? So we're always going to have at least one or two guys cutting to a dangerous area on the field. And then we're going to have at least two outlet guys on the outside, right? So right now the easy pass is down to this wing or to this middie that's coming off the crease over on this wing, right? So we want to have outlet passes, and we also want to have the danger zone passes. The other thing, guys, is setting picks, right? So anytime we have, the ball in the hands of one of our dodgers, okay, and we want all our guys to be able to feel comfortable dodging, shooting, passing, all of the above. We got the ball in the stick of a guy who can dodge, who's quick, whatever. We want to set picks for him. So if we're this guy on the crease again, come up and set a pick right here for him. And that way this midi can slip right off of that and come right down the middle of the defense. Again, this guy might be able to get a shot off. More than likely he's going to draw a slide, in which case it's a draw and dump again, right? So this midi who set the pick, he's going to do a pick and roll. So he's going to set the pick here and then roll off and try and be wide open right here for an easy shot, easy pass, easy shot. Or again, we're going to have guys cutting in from the wing, cutting in from X, to try and be that outlet, be that draw and dump, right? Guys, one important note when we're setting picks, you want to always be a statue, okay? So that means feet planted on the ground. You're not moving your foot. You're not taking an extra step. You're not leaning into a guy. You're not sticking your stick out or sticking your arm out or something. The refs in this league call moving picks all the time, right? Even when it's pretty clearly a stable pick, we never want to give them a reason to call a moving pick on us, right? Because that's an automatic turnover. But we do want to be very active in the pick game. So we'll work on setting those clean picks. So again, this guy could set a pick. This guy from the wing could come in and set a pick. Same idea. The guy from this wing could come in, right? If this guy's coming in for dodging from the wing, we can have, again, the crease guy come out and set a pick, or the adjacent guy come down and set a pick. The guy who's on the crease is always going to be the most active in terms of setting picks. We're going to do a lot of pick and rolls from the crease, but the adjacent guy can also come up and set a pick just as easily, right? So this guy back at X can easily sneak up here, set a pick, allow this guy to dodge underneath, and then he can roll off of it. And then the wing guy or the crease guy can fill back to X if need be, which means if we vacate X, again, we always want to have someone back there. So, send one of the other guys back there and we'll just do a little rotation. Okay. So that's kind of the concept that we want to have on offense. I'm not going to put in any formal plays. Maybe this weekend, on the sideline, I might throw something together for the offense if we have a settled dead ball situation. But I just want you guys to be out there moving the ball around, moving your feet, sharing the ball, and all getting chances to dodge, all getting chances to pass, shoot, and play in different positions. So again, the big thing here, again, ball movement, moving your feet, setting picks, getting open for each other, okay? And everyone's going to be playing every position on this field. So that's offense. Guys, on defense, we want to, again, just be man on man. Long pole sticking with their attackman. Middies getting back. So now we're the defense. If we lose the ball up here, our middies are coming straight back, right? They're not going to try and match up with a guy out here. Okay, we'll go through our ride, which we'll talk about in a minute, clears and rides. But assuming they get the ball, to their midi here, we'll call them X, right? So this guy has the ball. We're not going to try and play defense on this guy out here, because then if he gets, if this guy's a fast guy and our midi gets beat on a dodge at midfield, we're putting ourselves into a fast break situation unnecessarily, right? So I'd rather see, okay, they successfully cleared the ball to a guy at midfield. He's got the ball. He hasn't dropped it. It's not, an unsettled situation. Let's get our middies all the way back into the box, into the danger area. Our defenders are already matched up with their attackmen. And then as their middies make their way down, that's when our middies turn around and go and find a guy and cover him, right? Stick with your guy. If you feel you need to switch because of a mismatch or something like that, communicate. If they set a pick on you, communicate if you guys want to switch or if you just want to run through that pick. But guys, always just plan to stick with the same man that you have been covering. Don't just kind of float around in center field. I've seen some defenders just kind of stand in this middle area, not really sure where to go. Meanwhile, they've got an open guy running around right out here who's going to catch a pass and shoot, right? The biggest thing that we need to do on defense is communicate. Okay, so that starts with the goalie, to the defenders, to the middies. goalie first, because goalie can see everything on the field. So he knows if guys are open. He's the last line of defense. He's going to command the defense. The long poles are next because they're down there the entire time. They know the defense. They understand how the offense is working a little bit. And middies just listen to those guys, call out cuts, call out picks, call out, if we need to slide, if we need to, if we need to double team someone, whatever else, we're going to all call that out. Okay. So we'll work on communication. We'll try and get a little better at that each week. Understanding when to slide and how to slide. We'll talk about this a little bit more on Saturday, but basically the idea is we'll have defenders packed into this area right here on the crease. If we're getting beat on a dodge from outside, we're sending one of these defenders who's in this danger area up to slide, okay? And that means we've got to have other guys packed into this area to still cover, any man that's left alone in there. But sliding out, knowing when to slide, communicating who's going to be the person to slide, having a keyword for that, and getting ready to slide if need be, whether it's sliding up, sliding to the side, sliding down, whatever we need to do, we need to be prepared to do that. I never want to see us standing around in a scenario where someone gets beat and we don't know who's sliding. Man down defense. We didn't talk about man up offense. I think in general, we're going to run a pretty similar offensive set. The only difference is they're not going to be able to cover us one-on-one. So it should be even easier, right? Man down defense is going to look something like this. So LSM, midi, defense, defense. So we'll have 4 guys in here packed in tight to this danger area. We're not going to extend out and be covering, one-on-one again. We're going to be packed into a tight little square. Everyone has their stick up in the air to knock down passes. We're not going to extend back to X, and we're not going to extend out to the wings. Again, we're not man-on-man anymore. So really, we're just trying to prevent guys from getting into this danger area, whether it's through a dodge or a pass. We'll let them take those outside shots, okay? Clears and rides. So let's say our defense makes a stop, our goalie makes a save, we get a turnover, something happens. We've now got to get the ball from here all the way up to here. Okay, so there's a couple different types of clears. One is unsettled, one is settled, or dead ball. So dead ball would be, ball goes out of bounds. We get to pick up the ball back here and run it up. And then unsettled would be off of a turnover or a save or something like that. So let's say first unsettled. Okay, goalie makes a save. Our 2 D guys are going to break out to the wings. So it's kind of the side of the box here. They're close enough where they can sprint back and get back if need be, if we turn the ball over, but not so close that the goalie is doesn't feel comfortable making that pass to them. So they're over here, and our middies are breaking out to the midfield line, right? So middies are kind of spreading out 1, 2, 3 across the midfield line. They'll always sprint to get up here. And then once you get up here, you're going to want to turn around and kind of question mark, kind of come back to the ball, right? So you never want the goalie throwing it at your back or trying to catch it over the shoulder. You want to run and then turn around and give them a target to throw to. Turn around and come back to the ball. So you want to make it a nice, easy pass. And then you're protecting yourself from a defender. You might have a defender on your back here. But if you're turning around, coming back to the ball, he can't run through you to get to that ball. And then you can catch here and then turn around and run up the field again, okay? So that's an ideal clear, is getting it to one of these middies up here at the midfield line. Attackman, you're not going to camp down here by the goal, right? If you're camping down by the goal, there's a pretty good chance we're just going to turn the ball over and you'll never get it. You're going to come up here, so not quite all the way to the midfield line, because again, we want to give these middies breathing room. But you also want to be ready if this pass is high or something like that, or it gets knocked down. You want to be ready to get a ground ball right up in here, right? So you're going to be fighting their defenders for a ground ball. The other thing is goalie, if these guys are covered up, these middies are all covered up, just lob the ball down, try and lob it to an attackman, let them fight for it. I'd rather have that happen than turn the ball down here in the danger area. We never, ever, ever want to be making a pass right in the middle here. Always try and make, passes to these guys. If you're going to make a pass to this midi up the middle, make sure it's a high pass. It's all the way up to midfield. And then these D guys are really outlets, right? They're going to be kind of the last resort safety valve. So everyone's covered up here. Goalie makes a pass to this defender, and then this defender maybe carries it up the wing, or tries to make a pass to this midi or this midi at that point, or this attackman. So there's lots of different options on that. If we have a settled clear, say the ball goes out of bounds here and we get the ball back up here, we never want a defender to try and pick that up, right? Defender with a long pole, that's twice as much pole that's exposed for them to check. We want to give the ball to a midi, one of our faster middies here, and ideally just let them try and run, right? Try and let them run it up. So we'll have basically similar look where we'll have, maybe it's D guy kind of behind the goal here to be an outlet. We'll have another D guy over here, and then we'll have midi up here and midi over here, right? So we'll have kind of the two middies up near midfield, spaced out. These guys are both, again, trying to question mark, come back to the ball. This midi we're just going to try and give him run to beat his guy and just run up the field. And then this might turn into a fast break scenario, ideally, right? This guy has speed. He beats his guy. He gets it down here. Our attackmen are cutting to the goal. Our middies are cutting to the goal. And we might end up in a fast break, all right? If we're in a clear situation, or if we're in a ride situation, excuse me, the other team's trying to clear the ball, we're trying to, first of all, get our middies back, right? So we lose the ball. We're getting our middies back to midfield, okay? We're getting our middies right up to this line, and we're going to kind of play center field, right? So we're going to have like middies spaced out. We won't even necessarily need to play man-to-man. We'll just have like a bar of middies back here. That way, they can all kind of play center field. They can try and pick off a pass when it's in the air. And if they are not able to, then they're right here. They're able to slide back again and get into the box. And we'll let our attackmen run around and chase, harass the goalie, harass the defenders. You can't go into the crease. You can't get in the goalie's face when he's in the crease. But if he comes out, or if the ball gets to one of these D guys, you're going to get all over him, okay? Rides are one of my favorite part of the game. If you ride aggressively and you ride in a smart way, you can get, a handful of turnovers every game that turn into easy goals. So really, we want to use every ride as an opportunity, not to hang our head and say, oh, I lost the ball, or I missed that shot, or whatever. But as an opportunity to say, hey, let's be aggressive. Let's try and get the ball back. Let's try and score here every single time that we ride. Okay. So that's the ride. And guys, that's kind of all I had for you. I think I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, just a refresher and trying to talk about, the kinds of things that we're trying to do on offense and on defense. Excited to get out there and see how we all do. Yeah, I think we're going to score a lot of goals, and I think we're going to force some turnovers and play good, clean defense. And I'm thinking we'll come away with a W on Saturday. We have to go out there and work really hard, but I know we have the guys that can do it. So everyone, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all on Saturday.